All right. All right. Very excited to be joined now by none other than Mr. Blaine Coffee. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh man, same old, hanging out, hanging in there.
That's right. That's right. Well, so happy you could join us tonight. Fourth episode of Behind the Glass coming at you live on Kick, recorded on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the like button. You know what the fuck it is. We're about to get into it. Bang! I need a gunshot emoji or a fucking gunshot sound. Whenever I say some hard hitting shit. Anyway. But yeah, tonight we are joined by Blaine Coffee. Blaine has been making music as an artist, as a producer, as an engineer for like, I don't want to say, but like 20 plus years.
Probably about 20 years.
There we go. In Arizona, a mainstay for sure. Definitely very well known, well respected individual out here. So yeah, I'm just gonna hop right into it. Blaine, how did you first get started doing what you're doing?
Oh man, I'm a music late bloomer, so like I grew up with my grandparents, and elevator music was kind of the thing. So like when I started getting into my teenage years, we started kind of like going out and doing delinquent shit and like stealing car stereos and bullshit like that, and we kind of just started listening to a plethora of different CDs and whatnot, and then found the stuff that stuck. Like we were old heads, so like Tupac was recently deceased, but that was like the cool thing, and like the whole Lil Wayne era when he was Little Wayne with all them and all that, like that hip hop promotion that was going on in like the late '90s and early 2000s, I suppose. But bro, you're gonna have to get out of here. But we just started like breaking it all down and trying to figure out what everyone was talking about, at least in the hip hop realm. There was, I kind of didn't really have that much of an eclectic taste, but I like the oldies kind of also. But I never really thought about creating any music or whatnot. And then I had a friend whose cousin played for UCLA and then got drafted by the Cardinals and bought some little recording equipment. So we like went and messed around with it one time and kind of saw what turned up. And after that, it was kind of a wrap. Like we just kind of wanted to see what everything was all about. But that kind of led me to audio engineering as well because, I didn't want to pay salt mine prices and stuff. I was like, bro, $100 an hour, like that's crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'd
What
rather
is
just go
what
buy
is the
myself.
salt mine? But for people that
What's
might
that?
not know, what is the salt mine? Could you break that down just briefly?
Salt mine's like Paramount Studios in LA. Like it's got all the dopest equipment. It's shout out Don Salter and them. They
Yes,
all
sir.
run. It's like it's got hits under their belt. Like they did like Lil Wayne, Lollipop, and a whole bunch of other stuff. They got like $15,000 microphones that is worth more than like most of our little home studios all combined and shit.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
so they got all the good stuff. They got the best of the best stuff. But also, with that goes a high price tag. So I would have rather, us resourceful hip hoppers out here would rather go spend like $350 on like a SM7 microphone or like $500 on like a little Neumann TLM 103 or something like this and try and get as close to what we could,
Yep.
or some bootleg like LimeWire, Fruity Loops, and Pro Tools and stuff back in the day. So
Yep. Yep.
so
Start
I
somewhere.
went from trying to rap myself to like, what, if I can give back to the community and make a dollar and I can and fine tune my craft, then I can go into this engineering shit. So I started trying to decipher that stuff.
True.
That kind of one hand washes another, kind of led to me being here doing this for so dang long.
I feel that. I feel that.
Bro, I'm
What do
in the
you?
studio. I'm in my own little studio right now. Look, I got the microphone hanging from the ceiling and stuff.
Yep.
I got some big old speakers in this joint.
Damn.
Big ugly dog in this
Oh,
joint.
we love the dogs. We love the
So,
dogs. Hell yeah. That's tight. That's
except for
tight.
that squeaky toy. Yeah, man.
So, between the rapping and between the engineering, you can choose either one, or answer for both if you want to. But what do you think is the hardest thing about what you do?
Oh man. Well, the thing about engineering too, you're like a complete independent business. Like Mr. Walmart's not out there like stocking the shelves and creating the product and doing everything all at once. So it's kind of, it's the modern day like super business of all business things. Because if you're being an artist, then you got to represent yourself and package yourself and promote yourself and get out there, and then you got to find resources to record yourself. But if you're audio engineer recording your own, like recording for the city or, just your own pockets and whatnot, you still got to get the equipment. Then you got to book your clients. Then you got to bring random people into your like little safe space and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
both of them carry a lot of different variables at play if you really want to succeed at it. So they're both equally as like interesting of a pursuit of like a lifestyle.
True.
But I love that shit, man.
I feel it. This next question, kind of in the same vein, you could answer for either being an artist or engineering, but what was the first major setback that you encountered, and how did you get through it?
Oh man, I got a scar on the back of my head from me getting my door kicked open when I was a kid, and people coming in and stealing my fucking recording equipment while I have my little headphones on getting mixed.
Damn.
So yeah, that was a setback.
Sheesh. Yeah, I never even knew
that. There's a crazy long story behind it, man. I had this encounter with this hoof man on the Native American reservation, and I was gonna conjure up some crazy demons in the dream. And I put on my headphones to a final mix and laid down to like go into dream state and communicate with whatever I was supposed to communicate with. And I opened my eyes to a pistol in my face, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I got. So
damn.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of the first setback, and then I got evicted the day after because of the commotion. So, but then I moved from there. It was over on like Elliott and the 101 at the time to like this little section 8 in Scottsdale, like this little Civic Center Plaza with my homeboy Mark and some kids that were like relocated from Katrina, and they were all going to SEC, Scottsdale Community College. And I was 25 years old at the time, and I learned that I could get my FAFSA and my Pell Grants, and I could go to college, and I could actually learn the stuff that I had been practicing on the street with all my hood homies. So it kind of allowed me to go to SEC and learn from some people out there who are real humble and real dope, trying to like help kids succeed and people get educated and do some stuff. So I went from, getting robbed to going to community college and learning the odds and ends of everything that I've been doing for the last couple of years.
That's fire. That's a hell of a way to overcome the setback. Hell yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah.
Well, see, one door closes, but a window opens or something like that.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
man, that shit was, it was a fun adventure. Then I tried to kick knowledge too. I got in there and I was telling people like Jamal Tate ID. I was like, bro, if you're old enough, go get your FAFSA. It's a grant. Like they're just going to give you money. You just go to school. And if they got a music program, then you're getting paid to go learn music. Like how tight is that shit? Like,
true.
So definitely take advantage. If you get student loans, you get in trouble because I still pay back some student loans from that shit. But if you don't have to do it with student loans, you can get an education on the government's dollar. Bro, it's a win for sure.
Yeah. Facts. Okay, so getting back to the questions again, this one I feel like you can answer for either side, but what's your like favorite studio or like recording setting memory, or like the best experience that you had doing either of the two?
Oh man, there's a bunch. I got a ton of them. Like I like me personally, I like to record it. I like to be at home and kick off my shoes and get comfortable for myself when it comes to recording. You know what I'm saying? It's like your own little personal space. You kind of got in to get in the groove, smoke your little weed, turn the light down low, and do whatever you got to get on with. But we've had plenty interesting like little run-ins. Me and Arza, shout out the homie Arza.
Hell yeah, shout out Arza.
Yeah, we were in LA at Paramount Studios and with the homeboy Brian Charlie Handsome, who's like, bro, huge name right now. This dude Charlie Handsome is like one of the biggest names in the industries. I told the kid like, yo, you coming out here for that Wallen country dude? And he's like, nah, I gotta miss it because I got a meeting with Bad Bunny. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You're not texting me that you're not coming out here to Waylon Wallens or whatever his name is, and you got to go to some fucking Bad Bunny shit. Like I was like, that's fucking super tight. But we were there to meet him because he was there with Bobby Raps, who fucking was who was making a song for fucking for Hamburger Helper, like I whip it up, or some crazy shit like this. Huh. And the homeboy comes out and he's like, look, if you see Wale, don't dap Wale. And I was like, what? Wale's in this motherfucker? Like this is about to be tight. And we go in there, and as soon as we turn the corner, Wale's there with a bunch of people, and Arza looks at him, and Wale goes and daps Arza. And I'm like, what's up? I just did a little heads up, what's up? Like I'm too cool because it's fucking Wale. And I walk by, and as soon as I get past him, I'm like, Arza, he told you not to dap Wale, bro. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you and shit? Like,
damn.
Arza was like, bro, I didn't dap him. He dapped me. And I was like, you motherfucker. Like,
well, true. I mean, you can't turn down a dap from Wale. But yeah, I mean,
right,
I think the goal was not to send the dap towards Wale.
Right. And he abided by the rules, like straight
Fair
up,
enough.
like 100%. Like,
fair enough.
Got the fucking plan. So,
there we go.
Yeah, that
got in there,
bro. Yeah, I was like, this motherfucker. But bro, that's the magic of the studio too, especially when you're in places that are real active, like LA, bro. You might show up late night after the clubs let out at like 2, You might have a bunch of people. So now all of a sudden it's a networking tool where you just might be cool with someone because they dapped you when you came in the door or something like that. So we had a whole bunch of stupid run-ins with cool people and shit. Like I met Q when I was kicking with this dude FKI. He just came out and dapped me up, and I hadn't even heard the OG Bobby Johnson song yet, but that was right when that shit was popping. And I'm like over here just being completely oblivious, like, who's that dude again? And they're like, bro, he's got the hottest song in the country right now. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, bro, network is everything. The studio brings a lot of that all the time too. Like I said, especially when the spot's hot. Like if someone in the city opens up a little studio, like when V had his little spot, or whoever seems to kind of have the buzz or the wave at the time, then all of a sudden you start crossing paths with people when you come in the building and stuff, which could like lead to a whole new song or something like that. Like, dog, if you don't keep tripping. Sorry, I'm moving around. My dog down here he's like an attention sponge. And he intentionally pushes the ball under the couch so he can try and get the ball all crazy. He's just like, yo, I need the ball. Like, I'm freaking the fuck out.
It's like a game for him. I feel it. It's all good. We love the pups. We love the pups.
Well, I think he's got separation anxiety plus something else, which we probably all got a little bit of or something like that. But
sheesh, I feel that. I feel him on that, you know?
Yeah, real talk. What's up, bro?
What's his name?
That's Brutus, man. I just had to put my dog Cassius Clay down like last week. That shit sucked. That was the worst shit. Shut up, bro. But I asked the universe for a protector for the baby, and then they delivered me this dude like a week, like a month after I learned he got cancer is when they delivered that guy, and I was like, oh shit.
There you go.
Thank you, universe. So
facts. There you go. Now we got young Brutus.
Young Brutus, yeah, for sure. I was worried because I got a cat named Julio, and I was like, if he's Julio, like after July, which is like Julio Augustus Caesar, and I just got Brutus, like E2 Brute, I'm hoping this dude doesn't like doing my little cat homie or something like that. So.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope not. Okay, so then last question before we get into the chat GPT side of things, but what is your favorite project that you've worked on so far? This could be either for yourself or something that you help someone else create.
Oh man. I mean, I like all my projects, but I get too inward with my projects too often. Like I get like in my head, and then the mix is never good enough, and this and that. So I get like way over analytical when it comes to all my stuff. Like I almost can't even listen to it now, where I'm just like, that song, fuck. But as for other people's projects, like. There was this girl that Arza met in Austin, Texas named Davion, and she was just like a solo songwriter, like with a guitar and like super cool voice. And she was like 14 or 15 and she was just killing it. So she would send her tracks and I'd mix them. That was real dope. I liked Eddie Wells when young Eddie Wells was first coming up. When Black Cat Bill was first popping off. I was there when he was first like barely getting in the studio, and like he always had like a lot of voices and he had a lot of energy, and we'd chop up a bunch of samples. Like if someone called him on the phone, would like take the little conversation on the phone and chop it and screw it and make it into like lion's roars or some crazy shit, and like stick it on the beginning of the project. So it would be like that 20th Century Fox like lion roar shit, and we just have real good deep conversations, and then we go into recording and like random shit would pop off all crazy. So shout out my man Black Cat Bill out there who's killing the game too.
Hell yeah, I didn't even know you went back like that with Eddie Wells. That's fire,
bro. Way back, bro. These are all my nephews and shit, man. Sincerely Collins, I was doing his first shit back in the day. Fucking, I know good old Willie North Pole and a bunch of old heads from that era.
That's what I'm saying. This is what we're here for. Break down the people that you're tapped in with, like legacy wise, because it's like so many different generations. Like you said, Willie North Pole, and then you also said fucking Sincerely Collins. Like there's so much diversity in like time. Like
man, well, and the funny thing is, I look at hip hop like it's like. Hip hop, like the hip hop itself, in my opinion, is like it's like just straight truth. We just put it over hip hop beats, you know what I'm saying, like in sampled sounds. But like there's like subdivisions. Like you got like college backpack rap stuff, or you got like college rap, which is more commercial. Like then you got like gangster stuff or street music. Then you got like some intellectual modern hip hop shit. Then you got that classic boom bap feel, but. I cut teeth without having any like pre-established bias. Like, so when we're just getting CDs, we're just getting CDs. So it was whatever was hot at the time. It was like when East Coast stuff was just moving past into like more of the modern stuff. So I didn't think that I had a bias when it came to like what I was tracking. I just wanted the vocal to sound nice and crispy. So if I got a couple good recordings that happened and the spot got hot, like we had this spot Del Sol, which is over by Epicenter, like in Tempe on Apache, kind of by the UPS back in the back right there, just south of like what's this Cuttle Sack getting built right now or something like that. That's like Smith and Apache. But
oh yeah, that's right by there used to be a booking agent, K&Z Entertainment. They used to have offices right there.
Right in there. We were south of it, not north of it though. But yeah, like in that little industrial that's right there. But so back then it was like me and Sincerely Collins were homies. We met through a homeboy who knew Channing Frye when Channing Frye was at U of A. And I thought I needed a beat producer, and Sincerely was going as Casey the Dime at the time, and he had like his collars popped like Kanye West and shit, and he was making beats and stuff, and they were super cold. And I was like, Casey the Dime, what the fuck? And like, so we were kind of homies and fucking around with some music, and then we got in that spot, and I met this dude Jay Hood, like three O's Jay Hood from the South Side, who was like, and he had a super dope presence. And then we recorded this song that went on 98.3 at the time because they didn't have the rights to the beat, but it was like this telephone, like this dun 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 dun. But he was like, I'm off the hook, I'm straight though. And they got a bunch of City Love. And then he went and got Willie, and then Willie came through and was like, bro, I got to be at your studio. And I'm like, Willie, why are you at my studio? Like, you're signed to DTP. Like, this shit doesn't make any sense. Like, something's funky, bro. So I start calling around, and people are like, yo, he got kicked out of DTP. And I was like, oh, man, it's crazy juicy gossip and shit like that. So, but I had Sincerely, I had this group called the Vera Group at the time that I was like,
yo, bro, my friend Dylan's brother is Corey. The drummer.
Oh yeah, bro. Me and Corey group.
Yeah, bro. That's crazy. I did not know you were fucking connected with them like that. Dude, shouts out to Vera Group. Rest in peace, Andres, bro. For real.
Man, Andres?
Yeah,
I didn't know that he passed. I thought the guitar player passed. What's his face? I don't know. I didn't think Andreas passed.
Well, dude, I could be speaking out my fucking ass. I know that someone very pivotal to the Vera Group passed, and they could know.
They had their lead guitar spent. Not what the fuck is his name? That was after my wave beef. That was after I left. I left when I was there when it was pre-Andreas. It was just Johnny, Sean, and Corey, and then Ricky Moore, the lead singer, he got in trouble for dope, and then Andreas came in, and then Andreas brought in like Danny and Andreas' cousin, the saxophone player or the trumpet player.
Oh yeah, I know Danny.
And then they got in Stetson. That man Stetson was the one who passed away. He was like lead guitarist. Andreas might have passed. I don't think he passed. You're gonna make me have to go.
No, honestly, I think I'm speaking out my ass. I really think I have them mixed up, and I just want to apologize immediately. But yeah, shouts out the Vera Group, bro. They local band, regional band, national band didn't matter. Like in high school, like coming out of high school, that was a band I listened to every single fucking day. I loved that music, so that's crazy. I tapped in with them like that.
Yeah, and then I was there when Jacob Owens first started filming everybody's shit because he was with Samson and all of them, and Samson was fucking with the Vera Group at the time. Like, because again, they were doing some different shit, and Samson's little sister died and all this crazy shit. But at the time, KYLE and Futuristic and a bunch of other cats were all just like wave number one with Jacob Owens, and Jacob Owens was putting people on because Jacob Owens had
no budget. No budget.
Bro, Jacob Owens was he still is the truth. Like, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like,
do you want to, dude? If we're gonna talk about Jacob Owens, though, I want to talk about something he posted recently that I think is crazy, like a thing of the time. So Jacob Owens, obviously, for those that don't know, is a very prolific video producer. I don't know if he originally started from Arizona, but he did, like we were talking about, a bunch of videos for a bunch of rising artists out of Arizona, and was able to kind of like ride the wave of their success. And also, like, he was super, super successful in his own right as a director. But something he said recently is that if you're making music now, you should not be making music videos. You should be focused on short form content. And just like, it was crazy to me that one of the most successful Arizona or just successful videographers that is well known here is telling everyone to go elsewhere other than what would directly benefit him, which was like doing music videos. Like, do you want to speak on that, or like how that has changed?
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, at the time, because him and his buddies were all coming up, he was doing videos for free for them. Like KYLE, like Super Kyle, they were all getting videos for free. But he was so good at what he did with his cuts, he would film like the whole video through, and he'd keep his lighting all white balance, and he'd do like 5 or 6 takes all the way through. So that way they're already matched up, like word-wise, like, because all of those talented artists actually keep with their mouth all like, it's like frame for frame, you know what I'm saying? So then he's got enough stuff to work with where he can chop exactly on point. And as long as his angles were good, they were good. But at the time, because they were just coming up, they could put out a video that was like a performance based, like just like straightforward kind of shot thing, like no extra frills. And then he was like, I think he was getting different packages of like transitions so he could kind of make them match the vibe. But at the time, again, he could just pump out videos for people, which helped also to contribute to people's like development. Now, like if you put out any material that's not like pretty official looking, at least with the vibe of the song, you could potentially harm like your developmental process in the sense of like people's opinion of you, I suppose. So I can kind of see where that's at. Versus like people who might not even make music, if they make a bunch of content, they could get enough attention where they could eventually become a musician, like Bad Bobby or whatever the heck their names are and stuff. Like the industry loves to spit out anybody who's just got a big following because they can usually write the songs for them and mix and edit the songs for them and stuff. So
yeah,
I can see where he's coming from in that sense. Like, but he is the GOAT, and all of his videos are super fire regardless. But right now, I don't think he can mess with the local market because he's probably charging like $5,000 a video or something like that.
But he's worth it though.
He is 100%. He's doing like NFL films and shit now. Yeah, like that's like graduated and shit. Like,
yeah.
I
mean, I get it. It's just like I feel like Arizona. Like I don't know an Arizona artist with like a $5,000 budget right now.
No, bro, they'd rather smoke $20 worth of weed. Come on, they're at my studio asking for a discount. I already know, bro.
Oh my goodness, he said it. He said it, folks. Oh, all right, man. Well, shouts out to Futuristic, shouts out to the Buff Nerds, shouts out to Jacob Owens, everybody that we talked about so far. Sincerely,
the Bear Group stamps and all that for real, yeah.
Facts. I hope
these were waves, man. These were...
well, you know what I mean. I'm so sorry to put that fucking energy on him like that. That's...
yeah, Andreas, get at me, bro. Get at me, dog. I need to make sure you're still alive. Shit.
Facts. All right.
Hey, he was on it too. He had such a great voice. I was like, bro, this is so crazy, bro. The Bear Group was one of the dopest out the city for sure.
I feel like they were just starting to like, man, if they could have kept that together, like kept the original band together, and like really kept pushing. They were like Red Bull Studios and shit. Like they were already on, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's crazy. Yep. Bro, I was dealing with a bunch of crazy shit though with them sometimes because like lead singer would like run off with a chick, and I'm like, where you at? We got another stop to go to, and he'd be like, bro, I'm like 40 minutes away in another city. I'm like, what are you doing? You at home with that person? Like, oh shit.
Oh my goodness, dog.
Funny babysitting full-grown adults, but we had a hell of a time. Let me tell you what.
Hell yeah, bet. Well, I think we got a pretty good idea of who Blaine Coffee is now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into the second part of the interview where I'm gonna recruit artificial intelligence to help me ask some questions. So I asked AI what we should ask Blaine Coffee, and the first question that ChatGPT has for us today is: as a recording engineer, what unique challenges and opportunities have you encountered while working with Arizona hip hop artists, and how does it differ from artists from other regions?
Interesting. But you know, it's always something new every session. Sometimes the artists themselves are going through some crazy shit with their baby mama, or sometimes the equipment for some reason doesn't want to work. Like I have like the little big knob thing where I can adjust my volume, and for some reason at left field it just wants to shut down. So then I don't have available speakers, and I gotta like unplug and replug all the time. Or like just crazy. Nowadays, everyone's too gangster for themselves sometimes, and I got people be like, can I bring my pole in? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, my gun. I was like, yeah, I guess. They're like reaching their sweats and pull out like an AR-9. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, why do you guys need that shit in my house? Like, this shit is crazy, bro. Like, I'm not trying to cancel the session, but you don't need a machine gun in my house for your session. Like, this ain't the turf, man. Like, what's going on? So, you know, there's the personal level of stuff. Then there's like, couple times I'd have some artists who wouldn't have necessarily what they wanted to put down on, because you know some people nowadays they kind of like are off the top with their bars. They'll do like a single bar at a time while tracking. But I'd have people who'd come in and they wouldn't be fully prepared, and then they'd have to either leave through the middle of a session, or else when they come back the next time they wouldn't be happy with it. And as an audio engineer, my only thing is if I listen to the beat and the song on repeat so many times, eventually it gets like ingrained into my head, where like I don't think I can put as much shine on the overall beat and track itself just because it's been on repeat for the last 4.5 hours, and I'm just like it's burnt into my cerebellum or some shit like that. I was like, let me put on some jazz or some Mozart for 40 minutes so I can come back and listen with a new fresh set of ears.
Palate cleanser. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, you should. I think you and every artist or every engineer should do this. No fucking writing in the booth. Speaking from experience, like I've done it, you know what I mean? But also I've wasted fucking studio time, and then I'm wasting the engineer's time. Like it's just like, bro, as artists in Arizona, can we all agree that we're not gonna wait until the studio session to write the song? How do you feel about this?
Hey, I agree entirely. I do. Like, let them get on the chats right now or something. But I agree 1,000,000%. Because again, I want to help a brother out. Like, if I got, bro, even like young Trinidad Cordona with that Jennifer track and stuff. He came back after he got dropped from his label, and he was like, "Dog, I don't have any money, but I'm trying to send songs to Drake." And I was like, "Bro, I know you don't have any money, like, but I don't want you in my studio for 9.5 hours today trying to write 3 different ideas and then not having any money and hoping that you can shop them." Because I was like, then I'm the one who eats those 9 hours. Like, shit. And then if you do get signed, you already got signed and still didn't fuck with me after you got signed. So, like, what am I expecting to come back on me again? The same thing? Like, shit. So, yeah, I say get your shit down at least 3/4. If you want to leave, like, 1 bar so you can vibe with the last bar, I'm like, that's cool. But, like...
The whole... Imagine showing up no bars for your fucking verse. That's a problem. We got to stop that.
Right. Unless you're just, like, King Los or someone who's super cold off the top with some different shit. Like, unless you high on some hella cocaine or something, and you're just in there like, "Ooh, I got all the bars, whoop, whoop, whoop." Like, hold on, bro. It's still probably gonna sound all crazy, but like, don't waste anybody's time. Come to the studio prepared, like it's a business meeting. Like, fucking get in there, bro. These old heads that come through, I'm not gonna knock the old heads because a lot of them are on some boom bap shit, and it's not like the supermarket trend right now. But these cats will have their bars down pat, where they'll put down their 16 in like 1 take or 2 takes, and then they'll do their little dubs and their little ditties, and then they'll stack their hook 3 times. And 20 minutes into the session, we're done with all the vocals, and I could just go and fucking turn on all my little bypasses and just turn everything to the max, and their song's done in like 45 minutes, and they're not stressing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's out the door, ready to go. They can load it up online if they want to. So, again, if I'm sitting there forever listening to someone, and then I rap. So when I'm listening to someone and they're saying some dumb shit, I'm gonna be like,
yeah. Yeah, I judge some of my bars off like I look at John's like the first time he's listening to something, I look at John the engineer, I look at his reaction, and like most of the time he's just like has no reaction, but I have noticed if it's something he doesn't like, he'll just like stop moving. And so I'm like, and then I'll be like, yo, I was like, that wasn't it, that wasn't a hitter. But sometimes you'll also know if it's good because when he'll play the song, when he's starting to like go back to the top or whatever, he'll like say some of the lines that you were saying. Those are the good ones, folks. That's how you know.
Hey, let's investigate what I'm seeing right there. You're like, hold on, do I trust my engineer? Do I trust him? Is he rocking with this shit? All right, cool. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's a thin line too, because being the good guy and the bad guy, I want to be everybody's friend, but I still got to eat and pay my rent like everybody else. But also, if someone comes in and their bar is not super tight, if I was to be like, bro, that bar wasn't tight, I mean, unless we're good friends, somebody might, if they don't know me, they might be like, bro, fuck you, end the session, I'm out. Like,
yeah, I feel it, but like people like that are just not. They're not gonna improve because they don't want to hear what they need to hear to be able to improve. So it's like those people, you just gotta let them. Be not great, I guess. I don't know, you know.
Well, like so I mean, you know, I can nudge stuff if the timing's gone. Sometimes recording at homie studios and stuff, there'll be like latency based on like processing and stuff. So like sometimes recording in different environments is tough. So sometimes you don't know if the artist is like intentionally lagged on like their timing or if like the computer's lagged or like there's variables. Like if as an engineer, if you don't listen to like the headset when they first get there, the beat may be lagging by like, you know, 5,000 samples or something like this. So if somebody's rapping and you listen to it and you think it's on timing as an engineer, you nudge it, and that person's timing is already a little slow, they might be like, bro, why'd you move where my bar was at? You know what I'm saying? So like it's people's like rhythm is their rhythm. So it's a real fine line between like how much you chime in and how much you don't chime in as an audio engineer. But ideas and stuff are different. But like there's like a lot of variables at play. Reading your client, reading this, reading that, fucking. So it's just, man, it's interesting, bro. Like plus you get some crazy just some crazy wild artistic shit too, where you'll be like, I don't know if this is right. Like as an engineer, like, do I say something? Do I not say something? And then they listen back and they're like, oh, I love it. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's yeah. Print it.
You're like, I didn't have anything to say about that at all. It was fucking perfect. Yeah. That's funny.
For real, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, it's perfect. Yep, meant to do that. Perfect. Let's go. Let's get it, bro.
Bet. Well, next question I think is good because you've been out here doing this shit for a long time, for a real long time. How has the digital era impacted the production and distribution of hip hop music, particularly in Arizona, and what implications has this had for aspiring artists?
Oh man, like back in Phoenix, old time Phoenix, a long time ago. Not even like first wave. Like I'd say IROC is like first wave. Then there's like Willie might be second wave, but there, you'd catch people selling CDs at the Circle K. Like shout out to Cavi, who was always out there hustling, selling his little burnt CD mixtape. Yep. Sometimes, if you were in other neighborhoods, you might be like, this could just be a blank CD. I don't even know if there's shit on here, to be real. But somebody wanted to get their word out there. And they would go out there and, risk life and limb and be out there in the heat of the million degrees out there just hustling their discs all day. And like sometimes I see people now where I'm like, bro, if they're not going to write their lyrics before they get the studio, they might not even go out there and even try and sell their shit at all. Like, so they might not recoup any.
That shit's dead. I feel like the drive to like go print CDs, get them duplicated, post up somewhere. It's 100+ degrees outside and sell tapes out of your trunk. Like, no, I don't know if it's like just not effective now or just that no one wants it that bad to do that.
Well, I mean, they're definitely saving money because they used to be like, I would cheat. I'd go to like Minutemen Press and I'd cut my own shit and glue my own shit into the little squares. But like the discs, like you could get them at Moon Valley Media up there where everyone was at back in the day on what 26th in Peoria, where it was IROC and all them up there, and Justice and them moved like a couple stalls down. Mm-hmm. But you could go up there and get them duplicated, and then you could go out there. But they end up being like, hopefully you get them down to like $2-3 a CD. So, but depending on what kind of bulk you were doing. But now, I mean, if you can go digital, you can just hand them a QR code, and then all of a sudden they can just go to your link tree, and then they can go find everything that's free on YouTube, or they can pay you something if they want, or they can get your merchandise. So it's expedited the process, and it's cut a ton of the cost, which is definitely a business model that's like that everyone can survive off of if they got the ambition. So I mean, you can get a free AI program to make you a animated still. You can load it up on your YouTube, high fidelity. You can even record the whole thing on your phone nowadays, like XXX or whatever it is. Like, and as long as it's got some soul in it, people will feel that shit. So it saves the process of being out there at every Circle K, where you could just start cold calling people right off the social networks. So it's definitely like sped up the process of being able to do it. But then also there's also counter side of that, because there's some people who might not be, again, artists or talented artists in certain people's opinion, but might just be a hustler when it comes to their social networks. So they might be able to get even more traction, whether or not their song is good or bad or anywhere in between, based on the appeal to the masses. But they just might be out there working. So I think there's a shit ton of pros, exponential pros to what this digital market has to offer people nowadays. Like, people, as long as people are ambitious, they could be sitting at the bus stop making their next album cover, and they could be thinking of their next bar. And that shit could be on the internet like 10 minutes later.
That's true. Yeah, you really are only like limited by your creativity nowadays. Like, all the tools exist on so many different ways to finish something or create something. So yeah, that's a good point.
Great time. And my little kid's gonna be making shit like he's that Tom Cruise movie where he's just doing this on the wall and fucking music's just gonna smack. I'll be like, what is he doing? That's great.
Yeah,
let's go.
Man, I'm excited for the future.
For real.
Bet. Well, the next thing that the AI overlords think that they want to know from you is, how has the Arizona hip-hop scene evolved over the years, and what factors have contributed to its growth and popularity?
Interesting. I mean, that's such a crazy concept, because I've been out far less than when I was before. I swear I was I had like social anxieties and shit. So I'd drink my little Jamesons, and then all of a sudden I turned into some dude who was trying to hug everybody and be like, yeah, let's do it. But that was after a lot of coaxing and having to deal with like police waiting around every corner out here when it was an old red state and they hated rap music and shit. But there used to be like more venues. Like we used to have like J-Heads up on McDowell, and we used to have like Go Ahead up side, and we used to have like all the club levels, and we used to have like the Cherry Pit after it was level. Then we had like the Velvet Lounge, which used to be 420, which is like Finelli's now. And they had like Arizona Beach Club, where they would have hip hop shows. Then they had like what was the one on University or whatever? They had like the house or something like that. They got shut up with Nipsey Hussle and stuff.
No, that was the Clubhouse.
That was the Clubhouse.
Nipsey Hussle show at the Clubhouse got shut up. That got shut down. I think Club Red became the Red Owl. I don't even know if it's open as a venue anymore. On University.
I think the owner Kim passed away or something like that. But
Damn.
I felt like there was more venues for live music. It's just because bar owners they did live shows, but they were always worried because every single event that we used to go to got shot up every single time. Like, no exaggeration. For some reason, people just leave the parking lot and shoot their guns in the air or some shit. If they weren't like shooting it out in the parking lot, but ABC got shut down because guns. Clubhouse technically got shut down for like alcohol and something else violations, but it was guns. Again, the 420 Lounge got shut down because someone got killed in the alley. Fucking Freedom got shut down because someone got killed. O'Malley's got shut down because they were getting shot all the time. I was a famous Sam's when they got shot up. Like, bro, everything was getting shot up all the time, but there was venues for people to go out. Now I feel there's only like 4 or 5, or maybe even less. Like Monarch does live shows. Tempe Tavern kind of, but that's like a hole in the wall now. Like, they're shut down the shows down to minimums. It's just very few outlets for people. Justice does the hip hop festival. Shout out to hip hop festival. That's like once or twice, and they got some lead up shows. But I feel like it's not like it was before COVID, where there was like a bunch of shows popping, and it doesn't feel like it was like 15 years ago when there was like, bro, the people used to be on Mill Avenue freestyling in front of Jack in the Box all night long and shit. Like, there was some different, bro. Phoenix was a different vibe, but it was way limited, but people were hella passionate about it. And now I feel like the same way the dude doesn't want to cut a CD and go out in the street and hustle it, sometimes people don't want to go out and promote their rap the same way. Like, but it's cool to go to, like 1111 or like whatever other club is popping in Scottsdale and kind of just flex and be on the scene, as opposed to like it being like more artist oriented and stuff, like with performance bases. But I don't know. I think there's a new wave. I think fucking there's big money in the city. I think there's a ton of people. I think the sports franchises are popping. I think it's ready to make a resurgence again. It's just got to have a couple leaders go out there and kick in some doors and shit. Like,
that's a good point. Who do you see if you could choose 3 leaders, 3 people that are like not only moving and working for Arizona, for the betterment of Arizona, but also like leading by example, like, and are good people outside of the music? Do you have 3 people that come to mind for Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona in general, there's cold players. Like, I like Cash Lansky out of Tucson. I think he's super too.
Definitely love Cash Lansky.
Lando Chill is cool too, but he doesn't come off super Arizona-y, but he's like more national, which is still good. And these are Tucson artists. Like, in Phoenix, like, I like V, but I think V's getting up there in age like I am, because it's a young man's sport, to be 1,000,000% honest with you. But he's making business moves and he's always kicking some kind of knowledge somewhere too. And he's real thorough about his G. Also, you know what I'm saying? I like my youngin' De La. Me and him go way back. We've been homies and stuff. Their whole movement with that like way too active thing is popping and stuff. I fuck with that. Again, I like Eddie Wells. He's out there doing like rap rock fusion shit, which is like cutting edge and it's unique and it's dope. Like, that stuff is the stuff that needs to get praised and to be admired for what it is. It's there's other stuff out there, but it's groundbreaking, and that's the type of stuff that sets a culture apart and shit. Like, and then there's producers out there who are doing their unique thing, like Tony Chalk and stuff, or Tony out there with Alexis and stuff when they're fucking with Kev's lead, and Arth is out there cutting some fucking tracks for big people and stuff like that. Like, that's the backbone that makes up the whole gel. Part of that question also was what kind of contributed to it. I mean, Justice and the Hip Hop Festival has contributed to it for sure. Shout out Justice and what they've been building. He's been making his mark on the hip hop scene. But I think there's also limitations with certain things. I think secular radio and power and all the clear channel shit is garbage, and it limits our community from growing and developing and stuff. Like, because before, you go to a major city and they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hip hop stations, and certain places like the Bay will play local music mixed in with regular music. Phoenix, you had like 101.5 and Power, and then for a little there was a KCZP, but they went way more pop. But they were choked out by Clear Channel, and they couldn't play anything local. So like, it doesn't give you exposure to
and it was like 1 hour. It was like 1 hour on Sunday nights, right? Or like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's actually took a lot of debate. And for a while they had a Dump It or Bump It too. That was one song at like 4 o'clock, and then that fell off. Then that 1 hour came back, and then shout out to that same crew like Nick Norris and all those guys who are like affiliates of Justice. They had like Radio Super stuff that was playing on like the jazz station for a small period of time, but like, that was like, it tries to gain traction, but I just don't know if there's enough, like, because people come to Phoenix from everywhere else around the world, you know what I'm saying, and they kind of already have like a pre-established judgment of what they think they've already seen as a cultural representative from wherever they come from. Like, if you're from Chi, or you're from Philly, or you're from wherever that's at, usually you're like, I don't know, like Meek Mills, or like, whoever was popping in their city that they came from. So out here, they don't know where to look, and they don't know who's kind of popping, and then there's mix engineers Oh shit! My fault. I jumped off the thing. There's
You're
like
good.
there's mixed engineers. Someone hit me with a text and it blocked my beautiful picture of my damn self and my ego over here.
It's all good.
But but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes if you went out on a limb and helped somebody as like a artist, a person who had a spot or a platform, sometimes their levels just aren't the same. They're not like Justin Bieber's tracks here or Rihanna's tracks here and this person's tracks down here because the samples that their producer homie used were kind of quiet or something. So there's a ton of contributing factors to why I can see radio maybe didn't help boost our little area too much, but I feel real that was a major hindrance. I know that some of the DJs and stuff tried, but that Clear Channel shit just choked us out here for a while because new consumers couldn't learn about where shit was popping or what was popping or so.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a hard battle because also I could see it a little bit from the program director's point of view,
Right?
Like Arizona local hip hop really isn't doing anything for power. It's not doing anything for any of the conglomerates. You know what I mean? And but we're asking them, like these big organizations with all this money, to like set aside valuable time because they like what their product or service they're selling is the time on the radio, right? And so like to give that up for free because very few artists, if any, are able to break bread to pay for an hour of radio time.
Right.
So yeah,
it's big
tough.
money.
It's tough, and it's not like Power hates Arizona hip hop, but like Power needs to like fucking remain a radio station, and like
right.
So it's like it's tough, but then yeah, like the community like at large has never really supported Power, at least like majority of the community, because like again like there isn't really any support for local artists, but then it's just this vicious cycle, and so
it is. It really is.
I think shouts out to 101.1 though. I think that I think that's changed recently. I don't know, like the station identification might be different, but I know the Beat Locker. I just want to say shouts out to the Beat Locker. I feel like of any group of people in the media that care, they have shown that they care. I know they're doing stuff at the Salt Mine now. Like I think they're doing their weekly show at the Salt Mine. Shouts out to them. And shouts out to all the work they do.
That was like Poker Face and them at 101 for a while, I think, too. And that was another big wave. Shout out Poker Face and Audie Carter and Ty Carter and stuff from that was way back in the day. But yeah, they've been definitely showing support. I think it's Marvel. Marvel's been showing a lot of love to like I do got mad love for all of them. And I know it's tough, but I think 101.1 was actually a local, like a mom and pop owned radio station, so they could actually show us more love, which is super tight. But it's just funny, that we had such a big city, like 5 million populace, but we only had a second alternative that was like an independent radio. You would think, like, you would hope, but I don't have the bread to do that, so
Facts.
I can understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there. It's if you listened hard enough. For a while, there was like an AM station way back in the day who would let you rap freestyle from jail. So you could call on the jail phone and they would put you on and you could rap freestyle on AM radio way back when.
Damn.
That was a cool. I'll say about those radio stations too. One Christmas, while everyone was on Christmas break, my ass took those CDs that I individually burned and I wrapped them all up like presents and I drove to every radio station, 98.3, 101.5, and whatever. And I got a list of everyone from program director all the way down to janitor, and I dropped off all my CDs hand wrapped as presents to everybody at the radio station, like all 3 radio stations, just to try and get in there good. Like they're like, "Who's this? A Christmas present?" Bam, Blaine Coffee CD, motherfucker. Pasa.
There you go, bro. Hey man, that's fucking creative. And you probably got at least one person reaching out to you. You got one connection from that, I would bet, at least.
Son, well, I went to South by Southwest with Sincerely Collins after I did his first little Brooklyn basement stupid shit, recorded mix some of that shit. And I got out there and he was with Kev, and I was trying to have him introduce me to Kev, but I got out there and I seen Natasha Castles, and I was like, "You might remember me from this CD." And she was just like, "I got 3 of them in my trunk, motherfucker." And I was like, "Yeah."
There you go.
Yeah.
See. So, like, I think that's invaluable. I think we should talk about that a little bit. Like, a huge tip is, like, like, people are always trying to contact program directors and people at the radio station, always, like, play my shit. But if you can have someone in the radio station know who you are before you're talking to them for the first time, it is night and day. It is night and day different, because someone's going to want, like, if they've heard of you or seen you before and then they're talking to you, like, that's a lot cooler than if you, like, imagine how many people you've never heard of. 8 billion. You know
8
what I
billion.
mean? But there's a select group of people you have heard of before, and for one of those people to be talking to you, I think that's a fucking huge takeaway for anyone who's trying to break into the industry. It's like, Get friendly, do what you can, wrap your fucking album up as a gift and drop it off at the radio stations and give it to. I think it's cool what you did, giving it to everyone, not just the program directors, not the marketing directors, but just any employee at the fucking building. I think that's really cool. That's a stand-up guy move for sure.
I did my research, man, for sure. I used to, bro, and now you can do it even cooler because you can do it with a unique individualized thumb drive that could have your whole catalog and some videos and some special content and some links. So you could just pop up on them and give them just a cool little thumbie that's got everything on it, real slick. But yeah, I just thought I was unbiased because I was trying to win the ear of everybody. I was trying to win the attention from the program director, but I was still trying to have the homeboy who's cleaning the floor bumping my shit because, like, you know, just trying to win this shit. Come on.
Support. It doesn't matter who it comes from. You just need support. I feel it.
Right? I remember I rolled into 1011 and it was like St. Jude or someone I forgot was a DJ or an DJ out there. And he was like, Blaine Coffee? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I know you from this same homeboy in Mason. I was like, oh, shit. So it felt great to have somebody who pre-knew. Yeah. And I was just like, man, sticker game might be working right now. People might actually get tired of this shit.
I was waiting for this to come up. You are the best sticker placer in Arizona. I'm going to call it right now, bro. It doesn't matter. Chiba Hut, fucking the most famous one, I think, is the one at the Taco Bell in the drive-thru on the pole while you're waiting to get to the window, bro. Because you'll be waiting there some nights for 10 minutes, and I'm just looking at Blaine Coffee sticker the whole time. That's impeccable marketing. Impeccable marketing. Yeah, man.
So shout out, I had a Fonz Ozuna homeboy from Guadalupe, and he was getting into his music, but he found that printrunner.com. And every semester at ASU, I get 5,000 stickers for $100 and some bucks. So I would literally get on the light rail because I'd be drinking or performing at Tempe Tavern. I'd take the light rail up to like University and 5th Street or whatever. And then I would walk a different route home so I could stick like 100 stickers every single night in Tempe. Bro, I put like 50,000 stickers in the streets, like for real, like an ungodly number. Like I can't believe I put my whole government name on there and the police never showed up at my door like, excuse me, Mr. Coffee, we have way too many D's out here. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I always wondered if something like that would happen because it's like they literally know who it is, you know what I mean? But I've literally had ex-girlfriends who are not in the industry who are like, oh, who's this guy's sticker? I see this guy's sticker all the time. I'm like, oh, that's fucking Blaine, bro. He makes music. But yeah, dude, I kid you not, bro. You're prolific with the sticker game out here, bro. Sticker slap unparalleled. For sure.
Well, I used to try real hard too. I would like Spider-Man scale the wall, and I'd make sure it was perfect too. Sometimes I'd be like, hold on, it's got to be perfect, so they know I stuck this shit like fine. Yep. Or I have homeless people look at me like, I know your name from somewhere, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like a sticker head and shit. Like,
yep.
Hell yeah, I had a good time with that.
For sure. Well. Getting back onto the artificial intelligence overlords and what they think we should be talking about. In your experience, what role do recording studios and live performances play in shaping the success and exposure of Arizona hip hop artists?
I mean, I think that's super crucial. I'm a purist, so I like when people can breath control and actually do it. I don't mind if people got a stack here and there on an emphasized part or a hook, but I think performance is like the missing aspect to a real like artist, like superstar. Like you could be like nowadays, you don't even have to because in the industry, no one's writing their songs half the time. But if you're a brilliant songwriter and like, you're good at beat selection, because some people like can't pick a beat for their life. And some people pick like the dopest shit ever. And like, that's a lot of times why people connect with them. But if you got those two pieces down and you're somewhat attractive, like, and you can usually get there just by whatever, just trying to like do your hair a different style and wear some cool fashionable clothes. But if you get those factors together and you can actually perform with good energy, well, that's like the makings of a superstar right there.
Yep.
So like I see some people's perform, like I wasn't a fan of Futuristic for a while. Like I was like, man, I thought he was biting Childish Gambino before people knew who Childish Gambino was. But I saw his live performance, I was like, bro, dude's sick. Like dude's fucking, like he's got all the energy. He's super live. Like he's dunking from the fucking thing. I was like, that's sick. Like let me give him his props on that shit. Like, cause that live performance switched me up to being like, okay, like that live performance aspect is a crucial piece to like getting the consumer to buy into like, do you believe in your own product? And like, is it high energy? Is it entertaining? Because part of this is entertainment. Like, I think I'm an introvert and I write music for myself, but I feel like I neglect sometimes to think like someone else out there is listening to this shit and might like it for some reason. Sometimes you can just turn up like Curtis Blow out there turning things up all crazy and fucking like that's. And I guess that's another piece to the whole equation in general too, because lots of times there weren't a lot of good venues with great sound. So it was like sometimes the live shows didn't do the justice that they probably deserved and shit. Like,
facts.
But because in LA you have such a competitive market that you got kids who can't make it, who don't make the cut in a studio for some reason, and then they'll go find a live sound venue and try and make that like the coolest thing ever. Out here with only 6 different venues, lots of times you just got like a bar back who's over there just like turning the gain up and then turning the volume down and shit. So
trying to keep the speakers from getting blown out any more than they already are. You know what I mean?
Right. 'Cause you got 9 people with their vocal on the track also yelling as loud as they can because their mama's in the back wanting to hear them and they've never held a mic before half the time. Like, I love that shit, bro.
Yep. Yeah, man. That is really how it goes out here.
It's changing. It's changing. I swear to God, it's changing.
What advice would you give to aspiring hip-hop artists from Arizona who aim to make their mark on the national or global scale?
Get rid of all your bad pieces of media that's on the internet. Go back and just erase that shit for some reason. Like if it's you fucking dancing around like Post Malone in some little Daisy Dukes or something, like fucking trying to erase whatever you can. Make it simple, make it purified. Look at like Jay Electronica and shit, who only has a couple different pieces of material out, but they're high quality. He waited a little too long, kind of thing. But just refine your image to a couple few pieces, and then try and keep it consistent. That's the thing that misses a lot out here. Is I feel like consistency. Like people kind of are on for a second and fall off for a second. But I feel it's better to be consistent of a certain standard, and then maybe put things out once a month or something like that as like a major piece of product. Like you can be daily on your socials, but like keeping music coming out once a month's not a hard thing to obtain. That's like an album worth of songs, like 12 of them. Then you can jump on some features with some friends and that fills in a couple more. Then you can like, you know, you can have some current events, something pop up and you can make a song like real quick and just have the spontaneity to like make other things happen. But at least if there's that consistency of like 12 songs or something, and put a little money into budgeting for advertising, man. Just like you and your new song, which deserves a shout out. That was a good segue right there. There you go.
Appreciate you.
You know,
appreciate you.
But that's it, bro. Make sure people sponsor. Make sure people sign up for the pre-downloads. Tell them to tell their friends. Might as well make it in the playlist and like just stay on that. Every day an artist goes out and meets 5 or 10 new people just in general on their daily travels. Maybe they're sticking stickers or maybe they're just buying some burritos at Taco Bell. But if you meet a few people and they just hop on your social media, shit, 10 people a day is like 3,000 every year. If you can get $10 from those people, that's like 30 racks. That's damn near a living off of just that one wave, 1 year. So if you can keep it consistent, putting out music and meeting new people every day, it's really not. I mean, it's really just a game of numbers. If I started when I was younger, if I started like these youngins at like 15, 16, 17, and you just keep it consistent, 10 years down the line, you can have like fucking 200,000 followers and shit. Like
facts. Yep, consistency is the key for sure.
Well, I say with everybody being out here from everywhere around the world too, it's real quick for them to go, especially when ASU hits. It's like freshmen's coming back in August. Like all of them come from somewhere around the United States. If everyone had your music in their hand, you might have it in all the states of the whole country and shit like that.
Nice. Yeah, Christmas break is huge. If you gotta get them now, at the beginning of school when they go home for Christmas break, bro. That's like that's when it happens. The big spread.
Boom.
There it is.
That's why Hendrix and all them used to tour colleges and shit, man. That's the way the kids, for real. And a lot of them were older than the college kids. They were just using that vessel because that's where everyone's thirsty for something new. I just left my mama's house. I'm 18. What's happening in the world? I got me some Tito's. Let's see what we can get into. Oh, some new music. Love this shit. Let's turn up.
Yep.
Wow.
Bet. Well, we only got a couple more questions here. We're almost done. This next one, though. Throughout the years, have you noticed any recurring themes or social messages conveyed in Arizona hip hop, and how has this impacted the local audience?
Ooh.
There's one that I know. It's not really a social issue, but this is a huge thing in Arizona hip hop, and it comes from our man Emerg McVeigh.
I know.
People rapping over their main vocals. How do people in Arizona feel about that, Blaine Coffee?
I mean, me personally, I think it's meh. I think it's super meh. I think it's like as meh as like you could get, like, because you could go home and practice, bro. You got like the greats like Andre 3000 running around the block and doing that. Like, it's definitely a reoccurring theme. Well, one thing is I also feel like engineers used to suck, and like back in the day, they at least did not print them. Like they used to not print someone like a live disc, so the artist didn't ask about it. But yeah, I definitely think that people should put some effort into their music and record it, even if they just freestyle each bar, and they can still listen to it on repeat for the next 2 weeks before the show comes up, and they should be
Yeah.
able to have down.
Yeah, it's
Like
definitely not the crowd's job to learn the song. Like, if you can't even learn the song before you go perform, how do you expect the crowd to know, you know?
big facts.
I'm just saying. Yeah, man.
Right, and that's that confidence factor too, bro. There were times where I'd have something fresh off the pad, and I'm rolling like out the hook, like what the fuck am I gonna say? Like I forgot my verse, and as soon as I catch that first or second bar after having repeated it for the last week, then it starts to come out. Still might stumble, but that's what it's about. Like just that's kind of the game itself. Like that's if we were athletes, that's like game time shit. Like that's how we got to do it and stuff. Then I think that like pay for play was a thing that used to get talked shit about a bunch, but it's just a fact, bro. Like what's funny is there's like gatekeepers out here, and some people who their friends are gonna put on direct support every single time, and that shit sucks because sometimes their friends just are okay, or maybe they don't fit the vibe of that main artist.
Cheeks.
And like
sometimes they're cheeks. We can say here, bro. It's a safe space.
But you know what I'm saying? But if it's your ace homie, like you're gonna be like, all right, I got you, dog. Like I know you love fucking Ludacris, even though you sound like Talib Kweli, so it doesn't make sense. But cool, I'm gonna put you on. Like, let's go. I used to get mad at Mercedes and fucking Urban AZ back in the day because they have Gmo. They love Gmo, and they put Gmo on everything. And I'm like, this was a boom bap hip hop show. Why is Gmo direct support? Like, Gmo could still be on the set list, but direct support? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, he's out here killing people and stuff. I was like, shout out Mercedes. I still love Mercedes. She's tight. They all put in mad work. But I'd even have to go through like Sean Healy and have to go to LA because I knew a booking person. But as long as I knew that they matched my vibe, I knew I could sell my tickets and be direct support. I could sell 70 tickets to Mos Def because I know everyone in our little hip hop scene that does the backpack thing. You know what I'm saying? So pay for play makes sense. To me, it was on the promoter to make sure that the vibe of the artist matched the vibe of the audience and shit like this, because that's how you get good exposure. But that's definitely that was a reoccurring thing out here for a while.
That was huge.
But it goes on everywhere. What do you mean? Like another thing is it's the promoter's job to try and put together a night. Like say you had a night that was always popping with people that didn't have music, then the artist wants to come and perform in front of that crowd. So you as the promoter who brought that, you could definitely charge people because they're going to get exposure, which if they're a motivated hustler, they can go out and sell their merch in the parking lot or sell their CDs or get their downloads. So one hand washes another. So it's not just the blame on one or two specific people, but it takes an awareness for people to make both of those things come together correct. So I'm not mad at it. I'm less mad at that than I am at rapping over vocals. But
Bet. Well, hey man, Blaine, I appreciate all the time that you've had tonight. We just got one more question for you, and we've already touched on this one a little bit. But as we talked about, Arizona has a diverse music scene. How has the fusion of hip hop and other genres influenced the development of unique subgenres within the state's hip hop culture?
Oh man, shout out Jonathan Luther and like the Full Moon Festival and shit, bro. That was a super dope time.
Yeah,
that man worked his ass off. I remember when the floor almost broke at the damn whatever gallery and shit, and the lady had to come and be like, guys, we got to turn this shit off because everything's turning the fuck up and the floor's about to break. And I was like, let's go.
That was legendary times.
The legendary times, bro. Again, shout out John Luther because that was beautiful, man. Because you'd have rock in one part, you'd have EDM on two different stages, you'd have some rap upstairs, and like you'd have poetry somewhere and people playing with yo-yos and weird, just crazy shit everywhere. And I'm like, yo, this is great. Hella people on acid just running around doing nutty shit. Like
there was lots of drugs. There was lots of drugs. Not that me or Blaine were taking per se, but it was everywhere around us. You know?
Everywhere. Yep. And the music just turned it up, amplified. It was an experience.
I'm gonna out myself. I did have a bad experience one time at the Unexpected Art Gallery at a full moon. I took an eighth of shrooms, which debatably was too much to be taken at the time. And it was Ben Fly was performing, and I walked into the room, and like between the visuals on the screen and how loud the bass was, I literally had to leave. I left the Full Moon Festival that night. It was just too much for me, dude. I was like, bro, I gotta go. So for me, loud noises and illicit substances have never mixed well.
Well, I feel like psychedelics in masses of people is always kind of like, oh shit, is everybody looking at me right now? Like every single person.
It was all bad. It was not good.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple Blaine Coffee rumors out there that if you ever hear, just dismiss them as not being true, because they probably are 100% true. I guarantee that they're just ridiculous. Like, he did what, where, with who, when, where, and why? I'm like, yeah, that's a different. I'd like to meet him sometime. That Blaine Coffee, I'd have to interview him. Like, I'll have to figure that one out sometime. But yeah, man. Bro, it's cool because the city's getting smaller. It's getting bigger, but it's getting smaller. Because before you had to travel the whole entire city to go to a night, and you couldn't really drink a lot because as soon as you left, police were ready to give you a ticket because it was the only thing that was happening that was good. And now the city's getting popping. So like now you can go to like Cobra Arcade downtown and it'll be lit, or you'll go like to 7th Street somewhere, or you can go run around with the underground drag races and shit, or you can go to Tempe, or you can go to Scottsdale, or you can go to freaking Desert Ridge. Like shit's everywhere now. Like you could like go any part of the city and there's some way to like make something happen. Now they got roller coasters getting built in Glendale and shit. Like the casinos are popping. Like, bro, get out and network.
Nightlife is huge. Nightlife is huge out here for sure. Absolutely.
It's finally there. It's finally. Because before this was a truck stop, and I was like, oh shit, I'll pray for monster trucks on Saturday. Come on, like. I was growing up with my grandparents. Shit was so boring out here, bro. I was like, oh, Lord, I'm going to die of boredom out here. Yeah. But then it exploded, and I love it. I've always loved it.
It is popping. Top 5, the fifth largest area in the U.S. as far as, like, population density. So, but it's just very wide. It's just spread. It's like 30 miles wide, you know, and we got, like, 6 cities. Boop, 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 boop. Like.
Now the Cave Creek now the Queen Creek got a whole freeway down there, and then they're building like a 3-lane road all the way up like Pima all the way to like Troon and stuff. Like it's getting gigantor out here. Yeah. I remember when Anthem was so far away and like Maricopa was so far away. Now they're practically connected.
Well, the 202 and that 202 went in a couple of years ago. That to the West Valley, that changed everything. Like the West Valley is now accessible to everyone else on the East Valley for sure. Yeah. Right.
And they could build a whole nother Phoenix out there, it seems like. Shit. That Chandler going south towards like Florence is fucking gigantor. Yep. Love that shit, man.
Yep.
Hell yeah. We love Phoenix. Let's go.
Yes, sir, dude. We love Arizona. Shouts out. I wanted to say it one more time. Shout out Blaine Coffee. Thank you so much for being available to hop on, talk with us about some Arizona hip-hop history and whatnot. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say before we head out for the night?
No, just make sure that these motherfuckers go listen to your dope-ass tracks. I'm about to go bump it right now in 5 seconds as well. Let's all band together and show Arizona the respect it deserves. People can go out there and love each other. 31 flavors, man. And everyone ain't got to eat vanilla or chocolate. Everyone can go out there and have every other flavor that they want.
That's facts.
So everyone can win in this joint right now. Let's make it happen.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Blaine Coffee, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for the time. I'm going to get into my new single that he was just telling you guys all to go check out. It's Too Much. My name's Bobstract. You can find me. Just Google it. You'll find it. This will be up on YouTube tomorrow. Shout out to all my YouTube frogs. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you fucking like, subscribe, and come back next Tuesday. We'll be back for more Behind the Glass. Thank you, Blaine.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you guys next time.